one day we'll have intro music, but like, not today.
Hi, I'm Elanor.
And I'm Kalina.
And welcome to Don't Quote Me on That.
Where we kind of talk about movies.
Yeah, where we do talk about movies.
We do.
Yes. Today we're talking about a movie that is old.
I think we're like two for,
I would
probably,
say it's objectively old. It's
right now.
over a decade at this point.
Yeah.
It's
a movie that I have tried to avoid seeing for a very long time. Then Eleanor was like, I have a great idea. And I subjected her to Jennifer's Body, so I figured I should return the favor and watch this.
I don't think this is exactly the same, because I don't think you ended up loving this movie as much as I loved Jennifer's Body.
We'll see.
But you win some, you lose some.
I didn't hate it, which I thought I would. I thought I would think it was the worst movie in the world, and it wasn't, so.
I definitely watched this movie too young.
Again, a running theme for Eleanor's life.
Yeah.
She needed some supervision. Or more than she had, at least.
Yeah, I watched this when I was over alone at a boy's house, so come on, step it up. Kalina, would you like to introduce the movie I subjected you to?
It's Scott Pilgrim versus the World, I believe is the title. I just wrote Scott Pilgrim in my notes, so. But it's Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's got Michael Cera and Chris Evans and Anna Kendrick and then a whole bunch of other people I recognize.
And Mae Whitman and Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, I love Mae Whitman.
This was it was a good movie for me. You love Mae? I love Mae Whitman.
Yeah, I love Mae Whitman.
Have we not had this conversation before?
We probably have. To start, real quick, this is my first note because I wanted to remember. You made me guess your favorite character in Jennifer's Body, so I want you to guess my favorite character in this movie. 2 seconds, let me remember what my favorite character is because I wrote it at the end.
Okay, yes. Do you want his actor's name or his name? Wait, are we going? Whichever. Are we going favorite? Like, you think it's the cutest character? Favorite overall?
You didn't give me any guidelines for Jennifer's Body, so like whatever you want to like. It was obvious for Jennifer's Body, but whatever you want to go with.
I'm pretty sure you liked Mr. Chris Evans.
That was, you know what? It's a tie. So I wrote him initially, but actually, Knives is my favorite character.
Okay, that works. That works too.
Because well, as we'll get into in my notes, I have a lot of thoughts on that whole situation. But no, Chris Evans was like, he was number one up, probably up until right until the end. Because I don't know if you've ever seen Chris Evans.
Yeah, especially like young Chris Evans with a beard. Yeah.
I wrote down Chris Evans as like a rogue superhero is my favorite. Like, I love Captain America, and Captain America's probably one of my favorite superheroes, but Chris Evans, like, he was, with the Flame in the Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. I just love him as like a sort of like kind of morally gray almost character. Who's still doing the right thing, but like he's gonna do it his own way. Yeah.
Anyway. I think this show just has my dream cast.
Yeah.
Forever. I somehow caught the last like 5 minutes of 21 Jump Street, and it has 2 of these same people in it. Yeah, at least. And I was like, you know what? They should keep doing this together. Anyway, so Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It is a movie based on a graphic novel series, and essentially it follows a boy who needs to fight the 7 evil exes of his new future, of his romantic interest, in order to be able to date her, which is how normal things go.
I had no idea what the plot of this movie was before I watched it. I just knew I did not want to watch it. Like, that was all I had going in. I was like, Michael Cera, I have no interest in this movie. So, like, that was my only frame. But I kept writing, and like once you said it's about a graphic novel, it makes a lot more sense. A lot of my notes are, is this a superhero movie? I think this is a superhero movie. This is filmed like a superhero movie. One thing I will say that I really was surprised I liked, I really thought the editing and production in this was so, like, that's how I like to edit things. Like, they do a lot of very smooth cuts. Like, I think the best way to frame it is, like, you know how on TikTok transitions are a big thing? They did a lot of transitions like that where, like, if you blink, you didn't even realize you changed scenes. And I like to cut things like that, as evidenced by the wonderful editing job done in our
Yes.
our podcast here. But I thought the production value was fantastic, especially for a movie when they weren't like big name, like Michael Cera and Anna Kendrick and all that are big names now, but they wouldn't have been like that then.
In 2010, yeah. I thought it was really fun. How they, I don't know, I thought it was really. We could use big film school words. It was dynamic.
Yes.
It was fun, really. It was fun.
It was good. It was yeah, I thought it was produced very well. It was very interesting.
It was a box office fail, flop, bomb, whatever, what have you, but it has gained a cult following, which is interesting because I didn't see it in our cult movies lecture for film studies. Explain that.
I was gonna say, you sound like you're giving our film presentation. We have to do a film presentation for one of our classes, and did we do it on Twilight?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did it on Twilight. So it was us, and we stood up in front of the room, and the teacher's directly in the back of the room looking at us, and then there's like maybe 4 other people there at tops.
So smart.
And we were like, anyway, here's the best movie of all time.
People had done like the Titanic and Crazy Rich Asians and these movies with real just emotional moments, and they could pick out, the most beautiful wedding in the world scene, and we were like, that vampire looks cool. He got baseball pants on.
No, Twilight got some emotional moments. Remember when Bella leaves and she yells at Charlie? That's the worst scene in all of the movies. That's the worst.
That's the worst?
Worse than when Edward left her in the woods, okay? I feel so bad. Charlie's my favorite character in Twilight.
He is. He has a head. He's the only one in the whole town with a head. He's
got sense. He cares about his daughter. The man is kind of like, at the end of the day, he's like, you know what, whatever. If you're happy, I'm not happy, but it's okay. If you're happy, that's what's important.
I also liked his steadfast attitude against a vampire. He was like, no, that's just a real weird bear. It's fine. Come on, guys. It's a grizzly. Come on.
Or like, remember when Jacob went to go and go change into a wolf in front of him, and he started taking off his clothes, and he was like, hold on, son. Wait a second. Anyway, yeah, worst scene in the Twilight movies by far, I will go on record, is when Bella leaves in Twilight and she says she doesn't want to get stuck here like her mom did.
Yeah.
And you can see it in his face. Oh. We went on a little detour, as usual.
Yes.
We were trying not to talk about Twilight too much. Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim.
Do you want to start? Because I got like 2 pages of notes, I'm going to be honest. I paused this about every minute or so to write something down. So.
You want to just kind of go chronologically?
Yes, please.
Okay. If your friend who was over 19 years old, okay? We talking day they turn 19. I don't care. If they come home and tell you that they're dating a 17-year-old high schooler, you kick them. You kick them very hard, where it will hurt the most.
This is half of my notes, okay? This is like 1 page of my 2 pages of notes. I said, don't date high schoolers if you're not one. Saying you're 22, because I think at the beginning he goes, you're 28, and he goes, no, I'm 22. And saying you're 22 instead of 28 is not a flex when it comes to dating a high schooler. Mm-mm. And then I said, I hate everyone at this table. If I went somewhere and the people spoke like Scott, I'd leave. Yeah. And then I said, are they related? Why does no one say, this is a terrible idea? Also, I never wanted a college boyfriend. I never got, like, when I was in high school, I never got the appeal of, oh, my boyfriend's, like, older than me and lives in a different state and is going to college. I didn't get that. And I definitely, like, my, one problem I have with this movie is I don't get Scott's appeal. Like, not that I don't like Michael Cera, and I don't think he's, like, not that I don't think he's cute or whatever. It's just Scott as a person, I don't get why multiple girls were fighting over him.
I do get that.
No one explained that. That's why I thought it was a superhero movie. No one explained what what was attracting them to him.
It definitely. Yeah, I will say though, if Michael Cera was as old, it was 10 years younger, and he looked like that now. Can you imagine like a Venn diagram of people who lust after Matthew Gray Gubler and people who lust after Michael Cera?
It's a circle.
That's just a circle.
It's a circle.
Can you imagine if they were both big at the same time? But yeah, no, Scott Pilgrim.
I get the appeal of him being in a band, but also the guy I don't know his name, young Neil. Okay, wasn't even in the band, and I promise you, everyone would have been after him.
He's so
He just
cute.
stood in the background and looked good.
Yeah.
And, like, even the lead singer had something going for him that Michael Cera... And again, I don't want to knock Michael Cera. There's nothing wrong with him. It's just, it was not clicking. No one explained it. There was no basis for this argument.
I will say, I can understand the appeal, if you're, you know, a 15-year-old, or 17-year-old, whatever. A 17-year-old who really liked boys in bands. Then he's perfect, because he's, like... Especially, Knives seemed to be fairly, like, inexperienced in dating, and he looked like he had no idea what he was doing ever. So, you know, I get that appeal.
I think
Somebody
they're on the right
who
side
has
of edgy for it.
more than one brain cell, and isn't a 17-year-old girl, do better. That you know you can do better. You do. Nobody. Come on.
Yeah, my next set of notes is Knives ? He definitely made her up. Oh my god, he didn't make her up. That was her name.
That was her name. I don't remember who he was talking to, but he said her name, and then she was like, oh, she's Asian. Like, that explains the name Knives.
Which made it worse almost.
Yeah.
But anyway, and yeah, it was like a 2-second turnaround. I wrote this note, and by the time I finished writing it, he was opening the door, and she was like, hey, Knives, and I was like, oh my god, she's real.
What happened next was, I think we met Audrey Plaza, and we had that moment in the record shop where he mentioned the name of the Brie Larson band.
Oh wait,
no,
sorry, I have to tell you this. This is the funniest note I wrote. So I'm gonna read you through my notes because I think they're funnier than I'll be.
Yeah,
right
I think
now.
we'll let your notes kind of structure the episode.
So. I wrote them as I was watching it, so it's in order. I said, how are Scott and Bearded Dude the same age? Because Bearded Dude looked like he had like 15 kids, and Scott looked like he was one of his kids. Is his talent... And then he said he has talent, so I said, is his talent looking like a Wolverine impersonator? And then I said, tag yourself, I'm young Neil, lives here. But I thought their music was very realistic for like an underground band. I did think like the music... And like, I said this later in my notes, but... The music for each band made sense for their popularity. Like, Brie Larson's band, I think they were bigger and that music made sense. Whereas some of the bands they were battling in Battle of the Bands made sense for, like, what levels they were at. I thought that was pretty good. Well done.
I think...
Okay, do you have any thoughts on my recap?
Not yet. I think you're funny. But we did know that one. I... have said this, maybe we've said this before, I wouldn't want to date somebody in a band. That just seems like a lot for me. I would like to date somebody who has a nice office job that, you know...
Stable, an apartment.
Don't be asking me to go anywhere past midnight.
Oh no. My mom's watching 90 Day Fiancé. We were watching 90 Day Fiancé while she was doing my hair. And these girls get off like these 30-hour flights, right? And the guys are like, okay, let's go to the club and... meet my friends. No, I'm going to bed. You can go. Genuinely, you can go. I don't care. I will be asleep. And also Knives, when she came over to watch them practice, she goes, this is life-changing. And I said, I think seeing them practice and dating a dude in the band would be life-changing for me as well, because I would no longer have eardrums. Because they were like here playing, and then the couch was here, and they were just blasting the amp in her face.
And that's how you die.
Yeah. But I do like how they did the opening when they did the title and like the room kind of got bigger. I thought that was sick.
Yeah.
And then I started to like the movie from there, and I was like, I don't like this. I think next we meet his roommate, Wallace?
Wallace, yeah.
Wallace. I liked Wallace a lot, actually. I thought he was hilarious, and that's what Elanor and I sound like.
That is that's the first thing I thought. I thought we were also what Wallace and his sister sounded like. I think that was also a good representation of us.
I thought it was written very well. I think thinking back to like Jennifer's Body, how we were talking about when you're like it's hard to write friends, especially when they've been friends for so long. And I think every friend was written like every relationship was written really well.
Yeah.
And like I like Anna Kendrick. I always forget I like her, and then she pops up. She's so funny.
She's so much fun. I don't remember if this was right then, but I liked it when it was Scott, Wallace, other Scott. Don't date somebody with the same name as anybody you live with.
Especially if you're sharing a bed with them. Oh my god. Let me see if I can find this note, because it was about them sleeping. Oh, I said they couldn't afford like one more mattress with their kind of big band money, or maybe a sheet. a pull-out couch and
Yeah,
air mattress.
that's
Sleeping on the
the
floor may
thing.
have been preferable.
I know a queen bed is expensive, but I feel like two bad twin mattresses would run you about the same. You really did not have to be doing all
It
that.
wasn't like they were paying for a bed frame. I'm pretty sure in some shots there wasn't even like a sheet on the mat. Like they
barely
I
paid
think
for
they
the
had
blanket.
blankets. Yeah, like they could have. Listen, I don't know how much air mattress is, but I think it's in the budget. I just have a feeling.
Yeah, like I don't even want to. If I ever get married, I don't even want to share a bed with them. I would not willingly share a bed with some. It also like never explains how they know each other, but I don't think there's like a great answer for how.
I did actually like that because I think that's what helped make some of the relationships believable. And again, I guess that kind of helped that they didn't explain why Scott was so appealing. Is they just never gave you any like that's what I genuinely thought this was a superhero movie. And then when we meet later on when we meet the first boyfriend, I was like, this is definitely a superhero movie, right? That's the only explanation for any of these things going on. Because superhero movies have so much like technical stuff to get through that they can't bother with the background half the time.
I did like the sister roommate solidarity. I thought that was a good choice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yes, I wrote Anna Kendrick was she's the only lady with sense. I think in order I would give it to Anna Kendrick and then Kim and then whoever Aubrey Plaza played. Those are the most sensible people in the whole movie.
Yeah. Her name is.
And they're all women, so
Julie,
yeah.
Yes.
But I think after that he has the dream about Ramona.
Yes.
And then she appears. So I was like, maybe he's a prophet. I was really trying to sort Scott out. Okay, I had a lot of questions. Scott. I was trying to figure. Listen, she was in his dream, and the next shot she was real.
Yeah.
So I was like, what am I supposed to think? Maybe he's like, I don't know. He poofs people into life. I really don't know. Okay, I'm trying to figure it out. But I think he's going around the party asking people about her.
Well,
and I don't remember.
they go to the record shop first, and then he meets the guy who is the guy from New Girl, not like the main guy, but the other guy. Well, none of the three. Not important. He finds her, and his title card is like knows everyone or something. And he was like, "Do you know somebody with pink hair?"
Is his name Komu?
Yeah.
Komau? Yeah. Okay, wait. I was trying to remember who this was, right? Because I wrote a note said Scott is Elanor, and the other guy is me explaining that Sandra Bullock and Jennifer Garner are not the same person, and neither are Steve Carell and Will Smith.
Sorry, you.
Because I have to explain that to
you
Elanor.
Just
every
cut out
time.
for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Nope. We're rolling with it.
Okay. All right.
You'll hear my joke later. It's gonna be a surprise for everyone. I keep cutting out on Eleanor's end, so she's getting half the jokes. But Eleanor doesn't know what anyone looks like, and she's convinced these people are the same, so she doesn't like them.
No, but this guy, I know who it is because I am a little bit in love with him. Because again, this movie just cemented a few truths for me. Seeing everybody in this movie all at once.
I have a note that says, I think Ramona was Eleanor's inspiration, and then I also, after watching this movie, it reminded me of Eleanor and I did an episode where we switched albums. So I listened to a One Direction album, and Eleanor listened to Hell Freezes Over by the Eagles, and afterwards I feel like we had a better understanding of each other as people. And after watching this movie, I was like, no, Eleanor makes a lot more sense now.
And, I saw this movie for the first time, I think, freshman or sophomore year of high school. I went over to my boyfriend's house and we watched this movie, which, first of all, don't do that. If you're gonna watch this movie, you're gonna watch it alone or with not somebody that you're dating, because that's weird.
Yeah, it's a good group movie. Like, it's funny, but I wouldn't necessarily want to watch it one-on-one.
No. Also, that just sends a weird message. Anyway, they meet at the party, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
And he tells her, a Pac-Man fun fact, which was not
Yeah, which he already said to Knives, which, if you're gonna have a go-to story, at least have it be interesting. You know what my go-to story is if I want some attention? I go to school in Ireland. That's so much better than Pac-Man looking like a hockey puck. Mm-hmm.
Except unless you're in Ireland, and then it doesn't really work. So my go-to was my dad was Jamaican, and that usually worked for me there, so...
Oh my god, today was my last day of lectures for my undergrad, so I got a little emotional, and then one of my teachers started talking about some scholar who was Jamaican, and I was like, I know somebody Jamaican! I miss her! And it was not a great moment, not a shining moment for me.
I think that scene, I don't know. I think little things like that, again, it was a superhero movie, and you can't convince me otherwise. But like it was very well grounded in, I think, the demographic and whatnot. And also, I apologize if this feels very choppy. Elanor keeps cutting out on my end, so like I'm telling the story.
My connection's kind of bad.
Yeah, but no, I thought that was good.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but superhero movies, especially the like Marvel superhero movies and this movie, are both based off comics. That's why there's a lot of similarities.
Well, I didn't know that it was based off of a comic. I said that at the beginning. I said, now that you told me it was based off a graphic novel, it makes a lot more sense.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you had made that connection. I was a little bit worried.
Again, going in, I knew Michael Cera was in the movie, and I was not interested. There was a turn of events on the second half. So.
Okay. So
I think I've talked enough.
So he's ordering things from Amazon, and he says something about how he has to look cool. And then when she comes, I'm probably skipping up a couple things, but then she comes to his house to deliver the package, and she doesn't even know what it is. And I just don't understand men.
She said the word subspace highway, and then
she did.
That was normal. And then he told her a joke, and then he proceeded to explain it. And I tell to Elanor all the time, if you have to explain your joke,
not funny.
It's bad. It's a bad joke.
Even if you have to, give any sort of clarification, you need to go back and workshop that thing. I applaud you for trying a new joke. Gotta workshop it again.
Yeah. Every time now I watch Law and Order, obviously, and every time I watch the season with Lupo and Bernard, that's the one where he told a bad joke and you were like, no, you gotta, if you miss it, and he tried again, and you said if you miss it the first time, you can't try again. Yeah. So every time he does that a lot, and every time he makes a bad joke, I think of you. But one of the jokes was, I think someone got poisoned, right? Mm-hmm. And the lady was like, I've never seen a poison like this before. And Lupo goes, I have. It's called murder-itis. And I was like, no, honey. And Detective Lupo's my favorite detective. But I was like, we gotta, not your finest moment. I'll forgive you because you look really nice. But, try again.
Sometimes in SVU, they try to make jokes like that, too. And I'm like, guys, read the room. Please.
I don't mind the joke, because usually it's between, the two cops, so it's okay. But I'm just saying it to the families. But I was like, that should have stayed in your brain. That should have stayed inside. I liked... One thing I did like about the relationship, which might be the only thing, is she was kind of... I think the gender roles were reversed. And I said in, the scene where when he went over to her house and they almost had sex... She's portrayed as the typically masculine one, the way it was filmed and shot and, the positions they were in. I think and not to, apply genders to those roles, but, that would be typically the more possessive, dominating role, I guess. And usually they would have the man in that, and she was that instead. But it wasn't obvious. It was just because I'm hyper aware of camera angles all the time that I, noticed.
Yeah, I noticed that, too.
They gave her the power.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I have seen, GIFs on Tumblr of that scene where she's like, actually, I don't want to have sex. And then he's like, that's cool. And they're like, oh my gosh, we love a consent king. Ooh, respectful. Not to say that word.
The bare minimum.
Shut up. Minimum. Genuine, look, yes, it's good that he did the right thing. He doesn't deserve all of that.
No. And, I'll allow some pass because it's media, and I do think it's important to portray those things in media. So I think looking at it more of, that's good that they put this in this movie rather than he specifically did it makes sense. But if you're hyping people up for doing the bare minimum, then the other stuff, they're it doesn't feel like that far of a stretch, right? Because to them the bare minimum is the peak they can do, you know?
Yeah, the bare minimum is not. And I said, is not just saying, okay, to a reasonable request. I liked how I don't think any of them were too much. As characters, no. I think it's very easy, especially in a genre like this. And especially the relationship between a Manny Pixic dream girl and a scraggly white guy. It's very easy to just go just a little bit too over the top and make it unrealistic. Not like this movie was the height of realism, but I did think the personalities were at least the core of it.
There's only one character I would say was way too much, and we're gonna get to him in a second. Okay. So I'll save that for later. But I think after this, they had the first battle of the bands with the band Crash and the Boys. And I said that Elanor is Crash's... Crash goes, this song is called I Am So Sad, I Am So Very, Very Sad. And I said that was you. Yep. And I said, I hate you, please die is what my brain sounds like when I've got too many tabs open for an essay.
Mm-hmm.
Because have you ever closed your... I'm doing a presentation right now and I probably got about 30 tabs open. And I'm so excited to close those things. Or when you remove bookmarks for your sources. Oh. Just nerdy things. Anyway.
Shut up.
Just grad school things. Anyway, do you have any points?
No, I want to know what you have to think about Matthew Patel. Oh, also, first of all, it's not Scott's fault that he didn't fully read the email about 7 evil exes. You have one full... No, honestly, you have 3 words in an email. I'll read the first 3 and then I'll be like, nope, goodbye.
If the subject line's not interesting, I'm going to wait 2 days to open it, so...
Yeah.
Before we get to Matthew Patel, I said I think the stylistic choices, like feedback when the band was playing and the video games effects, make the movie better because they were telling, I think if you removed those elements, like the video game effects and the title cards and maybe even some of the editing choices, it's a very straightforward point. It's, this guy's got to get over these hurdles this girl has with her ex-boyfriends to be with her. Mm-hmm. And kind of improve him and like also recognize his faults. But I think they kind of added another dimension to the movie by doing that. And then, not to sound like a media student, and shout out to Rosemary and Mary I, but I think it was a postmodern film. I think the elements it incorporated.
If it's not a fully postmodern film, I don't know if I would like completely call it a postmodern film, but I would say that it does have a lot of kind of the fun traits of postmodernity. Yeah,
I was thinking of Existence. That's what it made me think of. But I also said that I enjoyed that they added the dimension, but not plot-wise. Like, they didn't add a confusing plot twist that made the story just too much. It was just in these little details.
I think you could even go as far as to say it's kind of like a transmedia, a transcending work, because it does borrow so much from kind of the comic books, which I think it's cute. I think you should stick to the source material if you're based off of it.
Yeah,
and also
having that context makes a lot more sense. Like, I liked it before, but having that context it makes a ton more sense why they did that.
Click something.
Yeah. My thoughts on Matthew Patel. I will read them for you directly as I wrote them, okay?
Please do. Chronological order.
I've decided Matthew Patel is a racist characterization. Don't ask why. I said superhero movie or just postmodern. Unfortunately, I get it. It's a fun movie. Oh, now he's dancing and singing? Definitely racist. And then I said... I said he did the Bombay head move earlier, which is Elanor apparently has a tendency to do this when we're talking and we're doing the podcast, and my mom pointed it out. So she's named it the Bombay head move. And I said the wavering voice, which I think is a traditional thing in like Bollywood singing. And I said I've seen my fair share of Bollywood movies, so I think it's so I said this is so ridiculous it's funny, but it's just out of touch enough that it wouldn't fly now. And then I said the hands above the head and the head movement, because he did this.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I said, if this were an Indian movie, I wouldn't even be fazed. Like, if someone in an Indian movie started floating and singing a song about how they were going to destroy you, I'd be like, yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm with you.
The little I know about, the little I've heard, yeah.
And I said, I didn't want to like this movie, but that sold me, so. Oh, I have a theory after this, but anyway, go on. What are your thoughts on Matthew Patel?
I thought he was really fun. A few times I was like, you know what, this would be really bad, but I'm glad he's not white. Or, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like, what did Ramona call him? Like, the only non-white, non-athletic person in town?
Yeah, that's why I decided it was out of touch enough that it wouldn't fly.
Yeah, that...
I think if you took that out, the rest of it you could, maybe not the head movement and the hands above the head, but I think the rest you would have gotten away with, because I think it's funny enough.
Yeah. That one
We're not experts on race relations.
No, God.
So don't come here for that. If you're here for that, you're in the wrong place. But I appreciate that you made it this far.
Yes. Stick around, but be nice. Yeah, I think that can be a little bit attributed to it was 2010, but also... Yeah. I didn't love that. I was like, you can have a type, but sometimes just keep...
Yeah, and I think if you even... I think if you even look at things that were made, like we watched, like Jennifer's Body, if you look at things made even a few years earlier and then a few years after, I think around 2010 was right when a lot of conversation around that happened.
Yeah.
So I think it makes a lot of sense for the time. It's not too out of touch, but it's just like it's a few steps
just a
off
little
of where we'd be today.
Sprinkles in of
little residue.
But I don't know, I thought he was still fun.
It was fun. It was really fun. I got really confused, and this is where I decided this is where the crux of my superhero postmodern debate happened. But I thought it was hilarious.
I thought the conversation of 7 even ex-boyfriends and then 7 evil exes, I thought that was just very funny. This is like, she was, it's not like she was saying it in a very confusing manner.
She told him. Yeah, and he just kept which I think also I think it clued you in, because later on, I think Scott got some depth and realized things about himself, and I think that early on clued you into he's kind of like really focused on himself, and I don't think he means to be, but he was like 7 ex-boyfriends, and she said 7 evil exes, and he just kind of kept talking like she hadn't said anything at all. But about the 7 evil exes, I said that I have a theory that they represent the 7 deadly sins. I have no basis for this theory. I just thought it was interesting. So I said Patel was wrath, because I have to go back and decide this one after, but I said he was wrath because she talked about how they used to beat up people together at school. So that was my justice for that. And now we're on to my favorite person.
Sorry, just real quick. If you're an angsty teenager, hearing that people used to have dates that were just beating bullies up, I don't know what the pipeline from, a 12-year-old watching Scott Pilgrim versus the World and then, being on Zoloft. But there's something there. If this movie appealed to you too much, go to therapy.
I think it explains so much about me and Elanor. I did not watch this movie till now. Elanor watched this movie perhaps too early.
Elanor had pink hair.
Look at us. Look at us.
When I watched this movie for the first time, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yes. Now, the love of our life. Also, just real quick before we meet our favorite boy, I have a couple things that I remember. One, I do like that he should have broken up with Knives earlier, but I do like that he did it. I think it could have been handled better, should have been handled sooner. But I know a lot of times when somebody cheats in a media text, it's never the cheater breaking it off. It's the one who got cheated on finding out, and then that's how it implodes. So I appreciated that little bit of accountability. And also...
Yeah, he had to get pushed to it, but I also... And I liked that it wasn't like they drifted apart because he just gave up. You know what I mean? Because I don't think Knives would have, given up on them, but he definitely would have. So I'm glad he did eventually kind of come to his senses.
Yeah. It came at a horrible time to go, I'm in love with you. Yikes, that's funny. But I didn't look like that. Yeah. And real quick, before... The way that they introduced Kalina's... favorite character, second favorite character, Mr. Chris Evans, I thought was absolutely hilarious with he used to be a sports star and then turning the magazine over. I loved that.
I think Chris Evans is great. I did say that there were some racist points here because they talk about Chinese food and then are you allowed to date outside of your race? But I don't remember if that was in part of. But Chris Evans is hilarious. I really liked the stunt double scene, where they all come to beat him up. I thought that was so funny. And then I also really liked so what happened? I figured out my notes. My notes are basically they introduced him. He was on the TV screen, and then we see him later, a couple scenes later. So this is about the breakup. The guy Daniel Kaluuya from what is it called? Us?
The Jordan Peele movie?
Not Us, yeah. Get Out. From Get Out. He talked about his audition trick as you do the audition and then you leave. So I wrote post breakup and then you leave, which is what Scott did. Scott was like, that sucks. Anyway, I'm breaking up with you. Bye. And just got out of there. But I said the most unrealistic thing is people don't seem to think Chip is the best part of the band. Bread makes you fat. Oh, also, this movie has so many quotes I didn't realize were from this movie.
Yeah.
The bread makes you fat one. And then he took her on a date, and he was like, let's go for a walk. And I said, if I was on a date someplace and the man said, let's go for a walk in the cold and in the slow, I'd be walking home.
No.
And then I go, Captain America looks different. Evans with a gravelly voice is so very good. I said Evans is pride in my 7 deadly sins theory, because he thinks he's so wonderful. And I said, is Scott's fighting ability ever explained? And then
it's explained as much as his superpowers are, obviously.
Exactly. I said I'd like to be Evans because his stunt doubles are fighting Scott. He goes, you homies want anything? And then he gets paid to do stunts. And then also my favorite part was at the end where he goes, are you goading me to do a trick right now? And Scott said, yeah, and it still worked. Those are my thoughts on Chris Evans.
Look, when you have a good enough trick.
What was his name, Lee?
Yeah, Lucas Lee. Which porn star name? I just want to say this real quick because it came to me when we were talking about Chris Evans. I think he's, in the Captain America movies, I think he's cuter before the serum, and Kalina thinks he's cuter after, and I think that's kind of that's us in a nutshell. That's our type.
One thing I will say, and not to sound like a misogynist, I don't usually like ladies, unfortunately, and I know part of that is misogyny and part of that is how they're written, which again is misogynistic. But I really liked the ladies in this film. I thought they had a lot of depth. I think this film, funnily enough, I don't think it passed the Bechdel test. But to be fair, the movie was about Scott, so I'm going to give him a pass for that. It was 2010. Yeah. The movie was about Scott. And the story wasn't like, what I liked about the story, it was one story happening and everyone was contributing to it versus kind of subplots happening. But I really liked the ladies in this film. I thought they were all well developed enough, and I thought they had the most sense out of everyone, except for maybe Knives, and I'll forgive her because she was 17.
Yeah, and Knives was definitely kind of a... I thought she was a little bit over the heads at times, like, but she was really good for what she was. I do agree that a lot of the women were a lot more fleshed out than they would be in kind of any teen movie that came out around this time. Like,
yeah, exactly. On the opposite end, for 2010, this was, like, really out of pocket.
Yeah.
I say that a lot, but, like, it was really good.
Well, even, like, Jennifer's body, they weren't... I don't know. I think they were just a little bit out of touch with how... Granted, they had, like, the whole demon thing going on, but I don't think the women were as fleshed out as they were in this show, which...
No. Even though it was about women, which was funny enough, because this wasn't even about the women. The next scene that happens after this is my favorite scene in the whole movie, and I've seen it before. It's the Scott's not here scene, because that's the kind of word games I like to play. But she comes over, Knives, I think it's Knives comes over looking for him, and he goes, "Oh, Scott," and Scott jumps out the window. He goes, "Scott's not here right now," and she goes, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, actually, he just left." And then he reaches in to grab his jacket, and Wallace moves the door just enough so you can't see him doing it. And I thought that was like, I don't know, I thought that was the peak comedy.
It was pretty funny. It did remind me of you. Hood is very good at talking around the truth.
Yeah. And I didn't realize how many quotes came from this scene, like from this movie. Like I'm mad that I like this movie. I get why people watch this. I would watch it. I don't like watching things again. I would watch this again.
Ooh, that's high praise.
That is high praise. I don't believe in watching anything ever. More than once. Maybe not even once. And I don't remember what this quote was from, but I'd like to use it. It says, "I'd love to postpone, darling, but I just cashed my last rain check." I thought that was good.
That was good. I know this is a little bit later, but I didn't know the TikTok audio that everybody used when they dye their hair. I didn't know that was from when Knives dyed her hair. I always thought, for some reason, I thought it was from... Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was two characters from Bob's Burgers, which I can't explain.
I didn't realize it was just, like, there was, like, one line in that audio that the other girl says, but it's just Knives talking. I thought it was two people having a conversation back and forth. Oh, and what did he do this time? No, it's me. Okay, what did you do this time? I didn't realize that came from this either. That's what Elanor and I sound like. Yeah, I said, "Oh my god, that's where the hair dye sound is from?"
I think it's one of my only notes, because most of them I kept in my head.
Yeah. Alright, I'm sorry. I've been doing, like, all the talking. What do you...
Oh, no, it's welcome. I love hearing your thoughts and feelings.
Thank you. I never talk, so this is, don't expect this again for a while. I said Todd looks like the guy from Mean Girls, so Todd's, Brie Larson's character's boyfriend. The white-haired, the vegan. Mm-hmm. Oh, thought that was so funny, okay?
I thought that was funny.
I said the music the bands play makes sense for their level of fame, which I mentioned earlier. And then I said this is where vegan supremacy started. Okay, now that I know this movie was made in 2010, this is where you can blame the movie. Okay. And I said I've always wondered, how does not eating dairy give you superpowers? And I was like, wait, you've always wondered that? Is that just a common knowledge? Because I didn't know that. I don't eat dairy. I don't have superpowers. I've never had dairy. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I needed to have cut out dairy. I've never I've had dairy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I've never had cow's milk directly, so I have to cut it out. Yeah. And I said Todd is gluttony.
Okay.
And the reason I said that, I think it was the food thing when the vegan police came in, which is a sentence I didn't think I'd say. When the vegan police came in, they were like, "You had a cheeseburger," or whatever it was. He was like, "A cheeseburger's not vegan," so that's why I decided he was gluttony in my 7 deadly sins theory. I hope everyone enjoys this theory because I came up with it for no reason other than there were 7 of them. There were 7 of them. And they were all, I feel like they were all, after I saw Matthew Patel, I assumed they were all going to be very stereotyped. Because it's easier to do that when you're making a villain. Mm-hmm. So, I just ran with it. It was fun. I liked it.
On the vegan police thing, when I was, because there's 2 things that he says. The first one, I was like honey or something. He's like, oh, that's not vegan. That one was understandable. Then it's a cheeseburger. It reminded me of, we had a housemate who was a vegetarian. And then we all went out for pizza and he got pepperoni.
Listen, okay, I'm gonna get on my soapbox, okay? If you say the sentence to me that I'm a vegetarian, but I'm not listening anymore, and I will leave, okay?
Yeah.
If there's a but in your sentence, you're not whatever you just said you were. I'm a vegan, but I'm going to leave, okay? That's at the end of the sentence. I'm a vegan, but Kalina's leaving now.
Yeah.
And won't be coming back. Also, egg, I don't think eggs are vegetarian. You can fight me about it. That's my unpopular opinion.
Kalina and I have had, I think we're up to 3 debates on whether or not eggs are vegetarian. Feel free to sound off. Kalina will not listen to you.
Just for everyone who doesn't know, I'm a pescatarian. So I eat fish, and I've never had meat in my life. I've never had cow's milk in my life, and I've never had, eggs directly in my life. I'll eat dairy products like cake and stuff. But I'm talking about people who straight up just eat, cook eggs, eat omelets. I don't think that's vegetarian. I don't think it should qualify.
Okay.
Thank you. I've got 21 years of this stored up, so.
Again, feel free. Kalina and I had to put this debate to rest because we got a little. Anyway, I thought that I liked how I don't know how to say this. I liked how the vegan police line was very clearly not written by Republicans. I think that very easily could have become like the whatever anti-woke crap that people will put out today. I did like that it definitely came from a spot of somebody who was vegan was in the room when this was written, or somebody who was at least spoken to a vegan was in the room when this was written.
Yeah. It was making fun of vegans, but not not in a bad way. I don't know how else to phrase that, but it was funny without being offensive. Mm-hmm. Which is very important and very hard to do. Not hard to do, but I don't think people you have to care, and I don't think people care enough to not do that. They're just ready to go offensive.
It can go very easy into anti-woke culture, which dumb.
Yeah.
This one was good.
Also, I said the friends. I thought his friends were so funny because when Todd was beating him up and he got thrown through the wall for the 4th time, his band goes, "Anyway, bro, that kind of sucks that your girlfriend's ex-boyfriends are trying to kill you, but we're gonna go get pizza so you can meet us there when we're done." Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'd probably what do you do at that point when this vegan guy's got superpowers and he's throwing your friend through several walls? I'd probably be I wouldn't say I was leaving, but I definitely would step out.
Slowly fade out. At that point, you can't help. So
what am I he can't do anything. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, what you have to do is you have to exit so you can be back to 100% to or you can be at 100% to help drag them out of there.
Exactly.
It's helpful in the long run. Like
our friend Daniel Kaluuya said, and then you leave. Mm-hmm. Then you leave, which is my motto for everything.
You can leave anything early if you have a good excuse.
Yeah. Oh, and then I said, losing my superpowers is why I won't eat meat. That's the only reason. Oh, okay. I have another France story for you because it's one of my favorite stories to tell. When I was in France, we went out one night and we were out until it was me and one of the other guys was left, and it was 4 a.m. and we ran into this guy from America for some in the middle of of like France. Okay, ran into this guy from America. His name was either Dakota or he was from Dakota, but he was from a state and he had a name that kind of sounded like a state. And then he invited us back to his apartment to cook steak for my friend, because the guy I was with wanted a steak, right? He was, don't worry, I'll cook one for you. And then after we got back to his apartment, he cooked the steak. This is probably about 6 o'clock in the morning by now. They were then trying to convince me to let him cook a steak for me, and I was like, no, it's okay, I don't eat meat, I've never had it. And they were like, this would be the perfect time to try. And I was like, 6 a.m. in a stranger's apartment when I have to go home, and I'm okay. I appreciate the offer, but maybe another time. And then I promptly tried to wrap my friend up and get him to leave. And then I walked home. So that's my favorite story about someone trying to get me to eat meat. It hasn't happened that often, thankfully, but that's the one that sticks out.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that story, and it was a whirlwind.
I think about it at least once a month. I'm like, what the heck? Oh, and then I said, actually, where are the 2 dudes from the vegan police high-fiving as they run away? They burst through a wall and they go, yeah, and then they just go. And then I love Mae Whitman. And I said Whitman was, she was lust. That was her sin.
Uh-huh. That's fine. I'm okay with that one.
I think even if she was a guy, I still would have put it for her, but also with the added element of the fact that she was Ramona's girlfriend. Mm-hmm. It made sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a smart cookie.
Thank you. The one I had the hardest with was Patel. Mm-hmm. Because I came up with a theory with him, but I was kind of back and forth. I wanted to, because I thought I was going to give Chris Evans wrath, but he was a little too full of himself, so that's why. And like, he didn't do fighting. He gave his stunt doubles the job of fighting. So yeah, I had a little think about this. I had fun. That was a fun little element for me while I was doing my notes.
Gotta keep your brain sharp.
And another thing I didn't understand about Ramona, was that I don't know why she kept getting upset with him for getting upset that her ex-boyfriends were trying to kill him. And, like, I don't know why she expected him to just be on board when she never explained it. The only person who tried to explain was Matthew Patel. And, like...
Poiber was not listening to. He didn't have to do...
Homeboy, the email was deleted. So, like, she was like... And then she was like, sorry, I know it's a lot. And I was like, yeah, it's a lot. But, like, if you'd give me a heads... Like, he was down with it, and he didn't get a heads up. So she could have just been like, hey, someone might try to come kill you because they like me.
And, like, it's not her... She's not worth all that. It's not her fault. But, like, also... If this has happened more than twice, you can assume it's a pattern.
Yeah. If she knows, I think she's got an obligation.
Yeah. Especially, like, if it's not somebody you actually want to date, then yeah, sure, let them get killed, whatever. If you liked this boy, which it seemed like she did for some reason, at least,
We're still clear on
that. Here's a heads up, keep an egg in the back of your pocket, that'll win you over with one, Something like that. Mm-hmm. Block of cheese. Just always have a block of cheese.
So I think after this, Ramona decides to go with her original boyfriend, who was Gideon. And my notes are, this is my petition to let Neil join the band. And I said, Knives is better, but she's 17, so... And then I said, so Neil gives... Gideon gives his band a recording contract. And this is after Ramona goes back to be with Gideon. And I wrote... He's known her for 2 minutes and she's not that hot. Don't give up a recording contract for her. Love is stupid, and also I think it's a scam. And then I said I was Wallace because he gave a cup of tea and kind of very callous advice. Mm-hmm. He was kind of like, that sucks, bro. Anyway. But yeah, like, not to sound all like love is a scam, but like, he's barely known the girl 2 mornings and her ex-boyfriends tried to kill her. I think he'd been okay if he let that one go and just took the recording contract. Yeah. I think that would have been okay. Again, not that hot.
Yeah, and like, if she really loves you, she'll find her way to you. Again, this recording contract, it's right here, right now.
Well, not. Anyway, I thought it was funny though, because I had written this is my petition to let Neil join the band, and then about a minute later they kicked Scott out and let Neil join the band, so I was happy.
Yeah. I love him.
He's adorable. And I think he plays the 2 of the most sensible characters for the film season. Okay, in Jennifer's Body, he's the only smart person in
the
whole
only smart
film.
one in that whole movie.
Only one. except for maybe Jennifer, and she only got smart after she got possessed by a demon.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if we can really attribute that one to her. And I wrote that Gideon was Gree. That was his deadly sin.
Yeah, absolutely. He does a very good sleazy man.
And I think we're wrapping up at the end here because I think this was going on a little long. So I'll give a recap of the scenes and we'll give our thoughts.
Yes.
So what happens after this is Scott goes to, so his band, what were they called?
Sex Bomb.
Sex Bomb. Oh, terrible band name. I wrote that down.
That's a great band name. I think that's
Elanor,
hilarious.
Elanor, someone should do a study on Elanor and I, a media case study. Media consumed who they are now as people. Okay. But so basically he goes to see his band play. He goes to where his band is playing. Gideon's putting on a show for them. Ramona is kind of being treated like a pet, which I had a lot of beef with. But anyway, he goes to fight Gideon. And then Knives ends up fighting Ramona because she thought Ramona stole her boyfriend. And then Scott's like, oh no, I was cheating on you technically. And Ramona's like, you were cheating on us? And he was like, no, I was just cheating on her. And Ramona's like, no, that's not how that works. You're cheating on both of us.
No, yeah.
Long story short, Scott ends up dying, but he had collected an extra life earlier. I really liked how the foreshadowing all came to a point here.
Yeah.
Because he gets the extra life, he goes back to defeat Gideon, and then explains to the girls right off the bat that he cheated on both of them. Sorry. They come to help him defeat Gideon. Sorry, I think he and Knives help him. Knives helps him defeat Gideon, and that's when I decided Knives was my favorite character. And then he also has to defeat himself, the evil version of himself at the end. But they defeat Gideon, everyone's happy. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, in one scene, they had the power of love, right? So I said, this is couples propaganda. What is the power of love? And then I said, actually, if he gives me a sword on fire, I could be convinced, right? Because he gets a flaming sword. And then after he dies and comes back and has to do it again, I said, see, the power of self-respect also gets you a flaming sword. Therefore, you don't need love. It's a scam.
But think about this. 2 swords.
Well, you can have the love sword, and then I'll have the power of self-respect sword, and then we will... Also, I wrote that the ideas that you and I come up with aren't that far off from this, so I think we should make a movie.
Really not. We should make a movie. Kalina and I had to do a screenplay in our undergrad, and it was one of the best pieces we've ever produced. It was 10 out of 10.
Oh, I do read it from time to time and consider submitting that somewhere. Yeah, but yeah, the foreshadowing, my favorite foreshadowing, just to finish off, and then I'll let you chit-chat, is they play, Scott and Knives do a dancing video game at the very start of the movie when he's giving her his bad Pac-Man fun facts. And at the end of the movie, that's actually how they defeat Gideon, is they're doing the moves and they're working in sync like they did together. And again, if Knives was an adult, I would have, I think they should have ended up together. But I'm glad they didn't, and I'm glad that kind of like they let Knives be her own person. She wasn't just this girl that was used to further Scott's story and was okay on, you know.
She definitely got a little bit more to her than obsessed 17-year-old, which always good to give your characters depth. I don't like that Knives tells Scott to go after Ramona.
I didn't like that. I don't think they should have ended up. I think they should have let her go and let her sort out her problems, because she had 7 of them at least.
Yeah, I appreciate that they didn't end up having a kiss, or it didn't cut to a marriage or anything. I liked that it was a little bit ambiguous, but also you don't have to be nice to people who cheated on you.
No, and I did like that they were kind of going off to work on themselves together, because I do think one thing I liked is that Scott became self-aware, and so did Ramona. They had problems, and they couldn't just be like, oh yeah, those are my crazy ex-boyfriends. They had to be
That's not my fault at all anyway. I think they did a really good job of incorporating other forms of media, which I think makes this film just really cool. Yeah, I thought I didn't like a lot of it, but the parts that I didn't like were, it's good that they weren't written as good choices. I think they could have been a lot more forgiving to the mess ups of the character. So I liked that. I don't know
what you're saying reminded me of something. I don't remember. I listened to some spoken word poems, so it might have been a poem. I don't remember what it was specifically, but they were talking about how sometimes when you have good characters, they make a mistake. What they do is they frame every decision the character makes as good, So even if it's a questionable decision, because they're the hero, it's inherently good. Whereas it should be the other way around. The inherent decisions should always be good, and that's what makes a good character. Versus the person is good and the character, therefore the decisions they make are good. It should be the other way around.
I think Harry Potter is very he's good. So that's why he's making those choices. It's fine. Harry Potter is the best character ever to exist. That the books definitely give off that kind of vibe. Whereas,
Back to my Captain America soapbox. Captain America. That's part of the reason I like him. Even if I won't say every decision Captain America made was great. I'm not a Marvel lore super fan, so I wouldn't know everything. I'm going based off of the movies and what very little reading I've done. But his decision may not be inherently good for everyone, or they may not serve the greater good all the time, but he has a very clear list of morals that I think are inherently good. He wants to save people, back to the whole, not a perfect soldier, a good man. And that's what he lives by, no matter what the choices, no matter what situation he's in, he lives by that. And I think he never makes a bad decision that's oh yeah, that's good. In Civil War, again, I don't remember what the conflict was. I think it was the Geneva Convention or whatever. But that's why you had Team Cap and Team Iron Man. But even then, people are split. Some people are obviously Team Cap, some are Team Iron Man. But I don't think it was framed as Captain America's decisions are the only good decisions because he's Captain America. I do think they gave you a dynamic of, you can see the argument for this side and you can see the argument for this side. Captain America went this way because this is what his morals are and he's sticking to them. But it doesn't mean that's the right way or that's the only way to do it.
So the real question is, would you rather be an evil ex or have an evil ex? Evil in the sense of Scott Pilgrim, not garbage human being.
Do I have to pick one?
Yes, you do.
Ideal situation, I'd have no exes, which is why I'm coasting right now, so it's pretty sweet. That's another thing. I don't have any frame of reference, so I think all of this is stupid and loves a scam, but I'd rather be an evil ex, because up until Scott they didn't get defeated, and that just seems fun to get to beat up people periodically for no reason other than it's tradition at this point, really, it seems like. Because that was my other thing, is except for Gideon, none of them were trying to get back together with her, so I don't know why any of them agreed to beat up potential boyfriends.
First of all, Matthew Patel learned that whole dance, and he spent too much time learning that to not put it to good use.
I take it back. That was my favorite part of the movie, not the Scott jumping out the window. It was the song. Oh my! If you've ever seen an Indian movie, it was spot on, but also it was so bad.
So, all in all, good movie?
Good movie. The takeaway, don't date 17-year-olds. And you need to learn from the people around you. You need to be self-aware. That's it. Don't date 17-year-olds.
Being self-aware is a very good, or at least having friends that aren't afraid to call you on things that you are not able to see. For example, dating teenagers. Scott Pilgrim, very good editing, just beautiful post-production.
Production value is fantastic, yeah.
Characters are pretty well fleshed out for a teen movie from 2010, not to minimize it or anything, but especially given other teen movies from the time. Very well. I think they stick to the source material, so how Matthew Patel had a real Bollywood feel. Yeah, Bollywood?
Yep.
And then, the comic book superhero kind of vibe was consistent all throughout. I think they handled that really, really well.
I think if they made this movie today, it wouldn't be very different.
No,
I think that's a good judge. Mm-hmm. If you made Jennifer's Body today, you'd have to change a lot of things, or Mean Girls even. But I think if this movie, you would have to tweak some very minuscule things to make it work. But I think for the most part, it'd be the same.
It's a good movie.
Anyway,
it's fun.
Check it out.
Thank you for listening to us ramble on about everything we rambled on about today. Mostly Scott Pilgrim and Captain America.
I think that we stayed on topic really well today.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
It's a round of applause for us. It's the only thing we have to do, but it's really impressive that we did it.
It's so impressive. The only thing we have to do is show up. Thank you.
I've been Kalina.
And I've been Elanor. And
Mrs.
we
Bing,
will be
don't quote
back
me on that.
at some point. It has been
And then
done,
we'll
quote me
talk
on
about
that.
something.
And we will maybe stop talking on top of each other, but I don't think that's possible.
Maybe one day when Eleanor's connection gets better and I can hear her.
Yeah.
Bye!
Bye.
One day we'll have outro music, but like, not today.